Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from thelinelover.com. In today's video, we will be talking about body type, hair, seasonal color, and essence in terms of how it applies to the lovely Kelly Rowland. So I hope you're interested in that level of nuance. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel and like this video so that I can continue to grow. First, let's discuss Kelly's frame. Kelly is tall. She is 5'8" tall. Her frame, her skeleton is quite long, narrow, elongated, with sharp, contained angularity. There's nothing very broad or wide about her. Don't be fooled by any posing that may make her shoulders look bigger. She is quite narrow. She also has more of a svelte, lengthy, long, sleek musculature. And I just want to clear up a misconception about yang flesh. Yang or dramatic flesh doesn't have to be extremely dry. You don't have to look like a marathon runner to have yang flesh. Try to look at the shapes that are in your flesh. Is it more of a rectangle, or is it more of a blossoming, kind of softer, rounder shape? Or is it kind of softly broad and wide? Kelly has more of that long rectangular shape to her muscles, so she has very yang flesh. So with that lovely elongation, svelte musculature, she best resonates with the dramatic ID. I don't think that she is a flamboyant natural. Again, she doesn't have that broadness and that width. I don't think she is dramatic classic. There's nothing very moderate about her. She is so evidently yang and long and narrow to me. So I really think she best resonates with the dramatic ID in terms of her silhouette. Now let's talk about Kelly's lovely face, and to clarify, now I am going to be speaking about essence, not Kibbe body type terms. So when I talk about essence, I'm talking about McJimsey or Kitchener essences. So Kelly's face is made up of these delicate, lovely, concise curves. There's nothing like super supple about the curves on her face. They're a little bit more dainty and delicate. She has these wide-spaced, beautiful doe eyes, this delicate kind of shapely, smaller mouth, and full but delicate lip shapes. Again, nothing super overflowing or extremely supple. There's this like daintiness despite the lushness of her flesh. Her nose is rather upturned, and despite her level of leanness, she always has this kind of soft, bouncy quality to her cheeks. Her expression is very youthful and fresh, and sometimes very flirty, sometimes very coy, but there's always something so youthful and girlish and sparkling and expressive about her face. And that's why I think her face resonates so much with the Ingenue essence, the most yin, youthful, sparkling, and girly of the essences. So just to clear up, Ingenue is different from Gamine essence because Gamine essence is youthful, but it's more playfully young. It's a little bit more boyish. And if you want more examples, see my previous video on Taylor Lachey, who I think is a great example of someone having the Gamine essence. So to go off on that, because hair is going to be the first thing you notice next to someone's face, let's talk about the best hairstyles for really bringing out the unique beauty of Kelly's face and her facial features, her expression. So Kelly, again, youthful, playful, flirty, coy, very feminine, delicate. She needs hairstyles with a good deal of volume and delicate shapeliness and playfulness and a bit of flirtiness to really complement her face, especially her eyes. So pigtails look very natural on her, very high ponytails, flirty fringe that really captures the eye and makes you look at her doe eyes and gives a little bit of movement and texture, and just very natural, playful updos, or just leaving her hair as is and letting it be voluminous and not trying to control it too much. On the other hand, the right side here, when Kelly wears her hair in very calculated, polished, sleek, severe, angular styles, it's very opposite from her expression and the loveliness of her face. So these very calculated hairstyles tend to flatten her very sparkly glow. They just look too serious and a little bit too matronly on her very youthful face. So now that we have covered the silhouettes and the essence, let's talk about color because it is so important, especially if you want to really express essence and silhouette in a cohesive way. So looking at Kelly, her most dominant color aspect is her brightness. She has a lot of saturation and high chroma to her skin, her hair, and her eyes. There's nothing muted about her coloring. There's nothing subdued. She doesn't have too much darkness to her coloring in terms of having a lot of darker, blacker hues that can look more deep. She has more of that pure color intensity that makes her look saturated and bright. So she has brightness as her main color attribute, and you can just go off on that if you want. There are systems of color and color palettes online that cater to brightness and that consider brightness to be an aspect that you can type people by. So if you have similar coloring or a similar attribute, you can just look into the bright color family. But if I want to talk about seasonal color, I also have to factor in her temperature, her skin's undertone. So I think that Kelly is a little bit cool toned, but she is in between seasons. So she is slightly cool toned and bright, which makes her a winter, but she is in between spring and winter. Spring is the bright season as well, but it's a little bit warmer. But Kelly is like in the middle because she's not exceedingly cool or exceedingly warm. She can kind of wear both. So what does that mean in terms of color? The colors that look best on Kelly reflect her own color strengths. So her best colors are also clear, saturated, bright, expressive, and are on the slightly cooler side. So oppositely, colors that are very deep and dark or subdued or extremely pastel or muted won't work as well on her. And in terms of jewelry, again, she is in between winter and spring. So she can wear both gold and silver jewelry. But what is most important is that the gold, the silver, whatever metallic she is wearing has a lot of saturation and high shine to it. So she doesn't want to be wearing very antique, muted, hammered, very textured metallics that don't have a lot of color or gloss to it. So just quickly going through these colors, this very beautiful, rich, vivid blue is just genius on her. This fuchsia or orchid color, which she wears a lot, is just fantastic on her. It just makes her skin look so glowy and radiant, and it brings out the glow of her hair color as well. It's just an amazing color on her. Here is like a mix of the blue and the pinks. Another great color on Kelly is this gorgeous turquoise. It's just so color enhancing. It just makes her look so sparkly, and she also looks good in this bright, vivid orange. All right, now let's look at some of the more intrinsically warmer colors that are far from like blue and purple and pink. the warmer colors like red and green and yellow. Which one of those look best on Kelly? So the slightly cooler versions of these colors are going to look good on her, and you want to make sure that if you're also bright and cool like her, you wear saturated versions of these colors. So no pastels, nothing gray or muted or subdued. So let's compare, starting with these yellow outfits. So this yellow outfit on the left is a little bit warmer. There's more of that kind of orangey yellow tone compared to this yellow, which is just a little bit more of a pure yellow. This yellow on the left is also a little bit more subdued. It's not as bright. There's just like a little bit of black hue to it. So just to clarify, if you have a pure color and you add black to it, it's going to look darker. And if you have a pure color, you add white to it, it's going to look lighter and more like a pastel color. So if you're saturated, you want as much color, purity, and intensity, as long as that color suits you. So that's why she looks a little bit more glowy in this pure yellow on the right compared to this more warm mustardy, slightly darker yellow on the left. Next up, let's talk about reds. So this one is interesting. That's why I picked it, because it has all of these different hues on it. And I want to compare it to this perfect red on the left. So this red is just gorgeous on Kelly. It's very intense and saturated in hue, and it's more of a slightly blue red as opposed to like a pinky or orangey brick red. So just perfect on her. Now let's talk about these colors. So this red, especially next to black, looks a little bit more dark and subdued, not as bright, not as intense. This red here on the bottom is more of a pinky red, again, not as potent. And here, this kind of like lilac-y pink, it's just very light. It has a lot of a light white hue to it, so it's far from intense in terms of color chroma. All right, let's move on to these two greens. So this green on the left is cooler. There's not as much yellow in this green as the one on the right. This green has so much yellow to it, so it's warmer, just doesn't look as flattering as a cooler green. And here, kind of the same thing with these neon colors. Both are quite saturated, but this neon on the right has more yellow to it, and this neon on the left has less yellow, just a little bit more flattering. So to clarify, what I'm looking at when I look at colors and compare and appraise colors is how the color affects skin. So colors that are best for you will make your skin look more glowy, more vibrant, more even, and colors that are not the best for you will bring out any dullness or unevenness in your tone. It might bring out blemishes in your skin, or it just might look very, very separate from you, like it's just sitting on you and it just could never kind of blend in with your skin tone. And another little note is that if you find your color season, it doesn't mean you're going to fit all of the colors in that palette. These palettes are created by, individuals with their own judgment, and it's not one size fits all. So you still have to explore different palettes, and the different colors in a palette. And it's not guaranteed that it's going to look perfect on you. Okay, so that was a lot on color. Now let's move back to lines, because now we can talk about all of it, but we have to set up the foundation. So here's some outfits of Kelly in dramatic, friendly outfits. So all of the lines in the outfits, all of the lines as they are interacting with her are upholding or accommodating her length, her narrowness, her sharp angularity. There's that very sleek quality to all of these outfits, but they're not honoring her more playful, Ingenue essence, and they're not honoring her seasonal color, which requires more brightness and vividness. And that's why I think, though these outfits look great on her body if you just cover her face, if you take your hand away, you'll notice there's a kind of severe effect, and she just doesn't look as high definition or vibrant as she does in other outfits. So now let's talk about her essence, how she can dress in a way to honor that ingenue vibe, that more playful, innocent, girlish, very feminine vibe. These outfits aren't necessarily fully accommodating of her silhouette, but they do have strong examples of ingenue details. So starting on the left, she looks like she just came out of like a Barbie box. Like she looks like real life Barbie here. The very playful A-line skirt, which is so hard for many grown women to pull off, looks so natural on her. The very flirty hairstyle, the fun patterns, it just looks perfectly normal on her. There's nothing overwhelming. Next up, we have this dress with a fun mushroom pattern, a very simple color blocked, smaller mushroom pattern. It's really hard for a lot of grown women to pull off such an animated pattern, but it just looks so fun and playful on her. Next up, we have these like ruffles and bows. Again, it's cute on her. It doesn't look like it's constraining her too much like it might on someone who looks or has an essence that is just a bit more mature. Next up, all of these beautiful flowers, ruffles, and here, so many ruffles, so much tulle, chiffon, whatever it's made of, lilac, kind of fairy-like aesthetic going on. It looks just so fun and cute on her, and it doesn't look like it's too much on her, like it's weighing her down. And that's because all of these outfits are really playing to her ingenue essence. Now let's look at some other outfits that don't honor that, spirit of playfulness and youthfulness. So starting here, we have a more mature outfit. And Kelly is beautiful. She's going to look amazing in most things, but let's just remember that we're trying to honor her special, unique essence and beauty and vibe. So I just think that all of these dark colors, these more intricate details, are just a little bit too heavy on her. Here, again, just a lot of intricate embroidery and just a very mature kind of outfit. It's just looking a little too busy on her. Next up, this super severe outfit, just too severe. Here, this more uncluttered but less constructed, more like free-flowing kind of outfit. I don't think it really captures her beauty. And here, another case of it just being quite severe and a little too sleek on her. Now, here are some examples of outfits that I think honor her essence and her body. They don't have to be super perfect. They don't have to 100% fulfill, her lines, her color, and her essence. I think that if you use the 80-20 rule, 80% having the foundation solid, there's like 20% room for freedom or interpretation or whatever. It's going to look good. So all of these have a good accommodation of her narrowness and her vertical. They're just showing off the beauty of her body in a very simply stated way. Fun colors, or there's some fun attribute to it. And her hair looks amazing in all of these outfits. So I think these are all just beautiful, beautiful looks. And you can kind of feel her energy come through more clearly with these outfits. So that's it. And I just want to leave this video with the message that one shouldn't get too caught up in theories or concepts. Try to see if an outfit flatters your body, if it flatters your coloring and if it flatters your vibe and your face. If an outfit looks good on your body but it doesn't look right because your face and your like character and your expression aren't matching, then try to figure out what changes you can make or what details you can add that will help enhance all of you. It's a whole big picture. And if you have trouble or want some advice, I offer services on my website, theallianceover.com. I'll see you in the next video.